Hello everyone, welcome to this special transmission live on YouTube. I am Driss Ghali, I live in Sao Paulo. Those who are followers of this channel are used to hearing me speak French, sometimes Arabic, Portuguese, and never English. This is a first episode in a series that I am calling the other side of the coin. Basically, I would like to hear people that have something special to say that are located where things are happening. And one of them is Ricardo. Ricardo is a Brazilian. I knew him from a long time ago. And now he's based in the Caucasus in a small country called Georgia. And Ricardo has something to say. So we will hear Ricardo and give him the floor and ask him just to be as straightforward as possible because there is a real need in our world of ultra communication, ultra information to hear some dissonant voices, some people who know what they are talking about. And Ricardo, you know what you are talking about. I will introduce you in a few words. You are a former military. You worked at the Brazilian military in Haiti, and now you are a specialist in risk management. The floor is yours, Ricardo, if you have an introductory word, and then I will ask you the first question. It will be about the fall of Kabul. Do you have anything to say, Ricardo?
It's a very interesting fact because normally the traditional media they make some type of coverage, but it's quite similar if you move from the main traditional media from channel to channel.
Right, right,
It's like a playbook that they have and they need to follow
right.
the same book. Is something that does not make much sense. Yes, but in fact, I think that is much important is to understand that what has been happened behind the scenes, and you can see the entire context. Yes.
Right, absolutely.
So when you talk about the American withdrawal from troops from the Afghanistan, that's something that used to be planned years before. But the real situation is you have three major global major markets in the world: the USA, the European Union, and China. And
Yeah.
here you have a strong narrative from the Americans to try to blame Russia and try to revive the Cold War in a new version 2.0. Yes, but
Right.
in fact, the problem is not this. The problem is they need that the European embrace this narrative so that they can deny their march to China. So uh, this is one important information that you need to bear in mind. The second important information is years ago, when you have the Bretton Woods Treaty, the
Right.
America decided to have a huge agreement with the Western European country so that they can stay on back of this country, and they promised to ensure the security in any sea in the world. Everybody can make commerce, and
Yeah.
they entice the Europeans to embrace the globalization process, and everything's gonna okay. And the main purpose, this system was created to face the Soviet Union, but for a specific period of time, the Soviet Union does not exist anymore. Yes, there is
Yeah.
no more Soviet Union. However, they needed to have a common narrative to people, everybody together, so that they can preserve the European market from the Chinese. So this is the main point.
Interesting. Yeah.
And the third specific information is for a lot of years in a row, America used to be very dependent on oil, okay, because they used to consume, and even nowadays they consume a lot of oil, but
Yeah.
they could not produce enough amount. So the Middle West used to be a very sensitive region because most of the flow of the oil comes from the Middle East. Every
Right.
time that you have some political or military instability in the region,
Mhm.
the price of oil tended to skyrocket and
Right.
create like a ripple effect in the different type of economy in the world. This is used to be years ago. The consequence is pretty the same, but not for the United States. Since they started to produce shale gas, and
Mhm.
the minimum cost to produce shale gas, if the cost of oil goes above 60 the barrel, it's
Right.
feasible to produce shale gas. And the United States is not dependent anymore about this resource.
Got you.
So, uh, if you remind at the beginning of the year, when you have the J7 meeting, that
Yeah.
Biden emphasized the need that everybody to embrace the fight against Chinese and against Russia and so on. And they try to convince Germany to give up the Nord Stream 2 that's coming from
Yeah.
Russia, and Russia
Right.
is going to have a huge leverage against the European Union. And he could not uh, dissuade the German and the European to make business with the Russian. So they try to impose the embargoes and law against the insurance company. So if you make business with Russia, I will prevent you to come to the American market and to make
Right.
business. However, the Russian opened an insurance company and they insured the entire operation. So there is no way. So what's the most important thing about this movement? Yeah, I can see like a logical movement that the America probably would do, uh, but they start to withdraw their troops from the Middle East because it's not a problem for them anymore, the instability in the Middle East. Yes, but if they withdraw this troop from the Middle East and the instability is going to skyrocket, in fact, the instability is starting to have many clash in different type of countries in the region. The problem is the price of the oil is gonna up. So
Mhm.
and China need import 80% of their needs of the oil. So
Yeah.
it's something that is gonna damage the Chinese economy, and it probably is something that is gonna give a clear answer to German and the other European countries.
I got
So
you.
this is something that the media does not they don't talk about this. Yes, they talk just about
Yeah. They
the
want to talk about the ugly Taliban's and the human rights and how sad democracy is not exportable and yeah.
yeah. This is something that is a good point to talk about because uh, the America moved to there. because they needed to fight Al Qaeda. This is the
Right.
initial project, yes, to go there and to. So when they came there, they realized that it is something that wouldn't be so easy. Yes, because the Afghan they defeat the British years ago. They had already defeated the Russian years ago, and now they defeat the Americans. They
Yeah.
invited NATO there. So, and there is a problem because due to the fact that the Mujahideen and the other militias have had been fighting against Russia for a lot of years. They had
Yeah.
a very intricate system of tunnels, and on that time, at the time of the American invasion, they
Yeah.
have no effective weapons to bomb this tunnel. The
Yeah.
only way on that time, not today. Today they have specific missiles to do this, but on that time, the only way to damage severely this tunnel is using nuclear weapon. But
Yeah.
it does not make sense to
Right.
use a
It's
nuclear
impossible.
weapon. It's impossible. This is why the America tried to to support the Iraqi invasion because yeah, there is no nuclear weapon in Iraq or
Right.
chemical weapon. Yes, the idea is if you can force give a clear message for the different Islamic country that if you house people from Al Qaeda, I have the capability to invade your country. I have the capability to do what I want to do. This is the clear idea. Uh, they went to Afghanistan. They fight against the militias, but they changed their initial agenda. The initial agenda is to protect the United States fighting Al Qaeda.
Mm-hmm.
And they start with the same rhetoric, yes, that the European Union tried to do and the America tried to do, to enforce a specific culture, the democracy values and something like this, like that, to a very traditional culture. This is
Mm-hmm.
the main problem. And when they start to do this, is very awkward for the local population because it's not part of their culture, it's not part of their value. They don't
Yeah.
ask anybody to come here and to lecture
Yes.
the way that
Actually, it's not. Yeah, it's not only the Americans who make this mistake. The whole Western world is intoxicated by the idea that all humans are equal, but we are not equal. When you talk to a French man, for example, most of French people, for example, they are convinced that if you give money, food to an African, to an Afghan, to a Chechen, to an Albanian, you can make him happy and make him French. And this is not only an American problem; it's a Western problem. I don't know if it's arrogance or being naive or lack of awareness. I think it's all of this. It's lack of awareness also. Nobody wants to understand that we are really different. We are really different one from the other. And this is what will give me to my last question about Afghanistan. Will lead me to my last question. What went wrong in Afghanistan? After all, you spoke about the tunnels, the lack of bombs for tunnels. You spoke about the cultural differences. But what went wrong beside that for the Americans in Afghanistan? I don't hear you anymore. I don't hear you. Something is going on there. Hello, are you there? Mr. YouTube? Help us, Mr. YouTube. Okay. Okay, we have a small issue there. Big issue, actually. No feed. What's going on? What's going on? Okay. Everyone, sorry for this interruption. I will try to contact our friend in Georgia to have him on board again. I'm sure he's trying to reconnect. This is live event, so we have some live event issues. I'm in contact with Nelson. We'll check what's going on. Okay, he has no more internet on his end. Okay, he's back. Okay, you are back. Hello,
Yes,
you are back.
yes, I needed to move it from the normal internet routing to the mobile phone, but it's okay.
Okay, so I was asking you, that was maybe my last question about Afghanistan. What went wrong in Afghanistan?
I think there is a huge mistake that the American and the European Union make again and again. Yes, they don't pay attention to the local culture, and
Yeah,
when they do this, something as you go there to try to fight guerrillas and something like this. Another thing is when you decide to go there and not just to hunt the terrorists, but you need to pacify the entire country, and much more complex than this, you
right.
are going to impose your culture. When you have a guerrilla, it's not a regular war. You
Mm,
need a lot of the local population. You need that they help you. So to do this, you need to be very close to them. If your values is completely different to them, if you want to impose their religion, their values,
yeah,
probably you're gonna lose the support of the local population. And it's very different guerrilla when you lose the support of the local population because in guerrilla, the guerrillas are in the middle of the crowd, so they
yeah,
shoot you and go inside any home, and you cannot do about this. And what people cannot understand that something is the mindset that people that live in Kabul, that people that are very familiar with the tenets from the Westerners because they have a good relationship with America, but it's not the reality of Afghanistan, of Africa, because Afghan is made of different tribes, different values. Even this guy of Taliban that go to the
right,
television and talk about this or about that. Oh, but I needed to keep it Sharia. Sharia is not matching the UN values. Yes, they are completely
right,
different. It's impossible to match this. And even these guys that go speak on behalf of the Taliban, they are not to represent the entire number of the different tribes in Afghanistan, and probably some of them is much more radical than them, and
right,
you
right.
don't agree with them. And
Yeah, I think it's very complex to stabilize a country, especially when it's Afghanistan. It's maybe the worst situation in the world because it's very backward country, a lot of tribes, and I compare sometimes Afghanistan to Iraq, and I think Iraq was easier because in Iraq you have a civilization. I don't feel that you have in Afghanistan a civilization. I mean cities with thinkers, professors, middle class, a tradition of civilization, of institution building. I don't feel that in Afghanistan. You have cities, you have Kandahar, you have Kabul, but they are not the home of a tradition of cities, governments. It can be Islamic government. I'm not talking about democracy. It can be dictatorship. But in Iraq you have it. In Syria you have it. So probably more. It's probably easier for the USA to stabilize Iraq, which was not easy, than to stabilize Afghanistan.
Yes, but and you have another problem is that geography
Of
is
course.
very
Yeah.
difficult there, and
Yes. Yes.
some people are completely isolated from the others.
Right.
And it's not so simple. Oh, I will give a school for women, but how can you make this school arrive in a fourth uh,
Yeah.
far from
Uh,
place?
yeah.
Yes,
And nobody asks the Afghans if they need a school. I'm not sure they want a school. They need it. They need it. But I'm not sure they want it. And this is
yes,
a big problem because we used to think of people that they think like us. We are all humans. I mean, we all have the same needs. We need clean water, we need food, we need school, we need internet maybe, but we don't think the same way. And I'm not sure that the Afghan people they want irrigation, they want highways. I'm not sure of that. Not sure. Nobody asked them the question.
yes, because it's different. The expectation are
Right,
completely different.
right, right,
So
right.
the problem is when you bring this type of things to this country, because when you talk about Afghanistan, you are talking about a country that is laid over $3 trillion in mineral resource, in fossil
Yeah,
fuel,
yeah,
and in lithium, and the new economy is gonna need a lot of lithium to produce batteries and something like
yeah. Right,
this.
right.
But it's not gonna be easier, yes, because it's funny because the American and the European Union they believe that they can interfere in your internal policy. They think that they can tell you about the values that you are supposed to adopt to make
Yeah,
business with me. But this word is over.
yeah.
probably, probably
Now, actually, it was over 100 years ago with the end of colonization.
yeah, yes,
And yeah, when the British left India and Pakistan, they understood that they had no more word to say. And we do the same mistake with immigration to Europe. What is immigration, in my view, is that we say, look, we did not manage to develop you. You Afghan, you Moroccan, you Chechen, you Albanian, you whatever. Whether under colonization or under the third world, the World Bank, IMF, UN. We've been giving a lot of several hundred billions of dollars to Africa with no results, or to Haiti with no result. We give them a lot of money and zero development. So now we say, come and live with us in France, in Germany, in Miami. This is your last chance. And we make the same mistake. We don't ask these people, do you want to live like us? I'm not sure that they want to live like an American or a Frenchman. And Muslims in France, they say that every day to the French government. You know what? They are not I'm not sure that people really want to change because development is about transformation. I'm not sure that people are really want to transform themselves. And I get that. And I get this message. I think we lost you again. Today, definitely, internet is not collaborating with me. So we will wait for Ricardo to come back. We will wait patiently, some patience. And this is what I was telling Ricardo. Immigration is the continuation of colonization. Back then in 19th century with Rudyard Kipling and Frenchman called Lyoté, the white man was trying to develop, to civilize people with violence. Now with immigration, he's trying to civilize them with the love and vouchers. You know what I mean? With the welfare vouchers, and it's not working. Okay, Ricardo, you are back. Let's go to the last question I have for you. We have to wrap up. About Haiti. You've been to Haiti, Port-au-Prince, and it's also a failed state with a long time presence of the UN, with few results. You saw that they've killed the president few weeks ago, Moise. Uh, Here is my question: do you see any similarity between Afghanistan and Haiti?
Uh,
These two fiascos.
Haiti is pretty different, yes. When you talk about Afghanistan, you have a country that is the majority of the population is Islamic. They have specific values completely different from the Central America and Caribbean country that's close, very near to the United States and receive a
Right.
lot of influence from the United States. And the main reason to intervene in Haiti is a specific action that the local government entice the population to not exactly to arrest, but to blame the misery in Haiti, the local government, blame it to the foreigners that they live there, the French, the
Yeah.
American, the Canadian, much different standard of lives, and
Right.
the regular population, the ordinary citizen, started to threat these people, and the United States decided to intervene with France and Canada. After that, they asked the United Nations to give a mandate and something like this. But
Right.
the fact is, they have already decided to intervene in the country. So after that, they realized that they are uh, sleep too much. Yes, they had the troop at the same time in Iraq. They had the troop at the same time in Afghanistan and in Haiti. So on that time, Brazil was considering to have more participation in the United Nations, and
Yeah.
make some not exactly agreement, but he he accepted to lead the mission so that you can free the American troops there. Yes, but the idea is completely different. When you talk about the Haiti, you have the gangs, you have a dismantling society, you
Right.
have
Right.
the chimeras that people that is like armed. Uh, armed people from political party. Yes, it's
Yeah. Yeah. It's like
political.
like in Lebanon or Iraq. It's you have a party with the militia. This
Yes,
militia. Yeah. Got you. Yeah. Yeah. I got you.
it's pretty similar. When the political negotiation is okay, you have no problem. But when the political negotiation go down, you have a lot of backlash from the militia against the
Yeah.
troops.
Yeah. I think Haiti is maybe easier from the geographical standpoint It's I think it's plain. No, it's not a mountainous country. At least big cities are easy to control. I think
It is much easier, much
much
easier.
easier. Yeah,
The geography here is easier. Uh, the type of relation. When he talks about Afghanistan, is
yeah,
Afghanistan is a type of country that he has been surviving for years. The
yeah.
major
Centuries,
power,
centuries.
yes, the major power was there trying to enforce their
Yeah, right,
willingness,
right.
the Russia, the British, the America, the NATO,
Yeah,
and it's completely different, yes, because and you have a specific turning point in the Afghan history, because when they decided to send their children, to save their children, they decided to send it to Mabrais in Pakistan. You put the link with the family, and they went there, and they have a very homogeneous ideology.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it's
yeah. Right,
completely different to Haiti. You are in Haiti, you turn on your television, you start CNN, bring your
right,
wash
right,
your brain. Yes, it's completely different. It's not
right,
going
right,
to
right.
happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I got it. It's very rich topic. I think to conclude, I would say that it's the last chance, I think, in my view, the last chance for the West to understand that he's not God. And I'm not talking about the United States. I'm not talking about all of us. We are not God. We have limits, and we cannot. I'm not sure if you would agree with me. We cannot change people in a short timeline, and instead of them, if Afghans would like to become better, it's their problem. It's not my problem, and I am not able to do that for them. I remember when I was a kid, when I was a child, my dad told me, I cannot pass the mathematic exams instead of you. I can pay you a teacher at home, homeschooling. I can buy you a book, but I can't go and pass the exam at your place instead of you on your behalf. And this is what we have been doing. We've been trying badly, awkwardly, as you said, to pass the exam of life on behalf of the Afghans or the Haitian, but we can't do that.
Yes, the problem is that they we have been repeating the same behavior for years.
Right,
Uh,
right, right,
I understand that Western society they believe a lot in the rule of law in the specific system, but
right.
they needed to stop and to think that there is not even if it's the best choice that you can have, even is a choice. So you have the freedom. The different peoples in the world they have their freedom to decide their ways. Yes, and
Right.
even if you come to Europe, even among the different countries inside the European Union, you have this problem
Of
because
course.
Poland is a Christian uh, country. Hungary is a Christian country, and the
Mhm.
other country like German and
Yeah,
Germany and France try to impose a specific ideology,
of course.
and it's difficult. They are not able to realize that is not going to work. Yes, you are going to polarize it more and
Yeah.
more. The world.
I remember something that General Petraeus told me, and I think it's in one of his books. He said in Iraq, in Mosul, he said it's easier. I'm not sure he said it in this word, but he said it's easier to send a shuttle to the moon than to build a school in Iraq, because technology is very easy. When you have a handful of bright people, it's very easy to have them go to the moon. It's easy. You know, Jeff Bezos went to the outside the atmosphere. It's very easy because you have only American or Western people. It's technology. It's easy. But building a school in Iraq, it's very difficult because you have to get people on board. You have to speak the language, Arabic. You have to understand the tribes. Who makes the decision? In NASA, it's easy to know the decision-making process. Or in Amazon with Jeff Bezos. In Iraq, it's very difficult. It's both matricial, vertical, horizontal. It's complex. And we have maybe this illusion of technology, that everything is easy. No, it's as difficult as before. The drones and the Wi-Fi and the space shuttles are unfortunately not the solution. The solution remains the influence on people and how to govern them.
Yeah, yes. All the countries that had already invaded Afghanistan, they have a lot of they had a lot of technology, but they couldn't succeed. Russia at that time, British, America, all of them.
Yeah, and it's in the it's a matter of intercultural collaboration. It's easy for Brazilians to make Embraer because they all speak Portuguese, they've been to the same college, they think the same way, they have the same objective, it's a convergence of objective. It's difficult to make Embraer with Afghans, Moroccan, and French. Look at the Airbus, the difficulties to make a plane between German and French. Look at, for example, I would say Nissan, Renault, and
Peugeot,
Nissan,
Peugeot,
Renault was in an alliance with Mitsubishi, the Carlos Ghosn company, you know, and Nissan, Renault, Mitsubishi. Look at the difficulties for a Frenchman to work with Japanese. He went to prison. He went to prison because of, I would say, xenophobia. I'm not sure if this is because it's difficult to have bright people, automakers, very bright people, agree on the collaborating on an alliance to make cars. So imagine going to Iraq, Afghanistan, Haiti, Somalia, Yemen, and agree with people to make something useful. It's very, very complex, and I think it will be our conclusion. I will give you the floor to conclude. What do you would like to say to our viewers about you and all what you are doing there, maybe in Russia, and how do you see the world from there?
Uh, the problem is that I can see here, and just as I have been moving from country to country
Yeah,
after a specific period of time. Here, there, you have no idea the huge pressure that the Western make in the Eastern. Yes, they don't accept that you have different culture, different civilization, and it's something that want to go won't change. Yes, because the people here they have their own belief, and the concept of open society is nothing wrong about this, but it's a choice. You need to understand that other culture is not prone to give up their values, their tradition to become global. Yes,
right.
and the globalization process, as you used to see, is over because probably the world is changing for a regional model and a much more multilateral than the model of the globalization. Yes, you have some global interaction, but it's not going to be the same.
I
Yes,
got you. It's very interesting, this idea of the end. Is it the end of globalization as we knew it in the definition as uniformization of the world? Yeah, it's very interesting. Let's finish here. We already hit 40 minutes time mark. Maybe we can meet later to pick up this thing of the end of globalization. It would be very interesting. Thank
Yes,
you. Appreciate your insights, and I wish you health and safe trip back to Brazil. If you pretend to go back to Brazil.
thanks for having me. It's every time it's a pleasure to discuss with you these interesting points. Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
also to our viewers, and I hope that we will meet again with you or someone else who have something special to say that we cannot find easily in the mainstream media. Bye bye, Ricardo. Ciao, ciao.
Bye bye.
Ciao.